Diwali may be a few weeks away, but today we have a car that claims to be a pocket-sized rocket on 4 wheels. Yes, the Tata Motors Punch has been unveiled and it's all set for a launch this festive season. From its looks to its cabin, to the features, to safety, and even a little bit of off-road. This episode will focus on everything you need to know about the Tata Motors Punch that's about to hit the Indian roads. I'm Shubhadeep, you're watching HT Auto. Stay tuned. SUVs now come in all shapes and sizes, but while shape is one thing, size may matter a lot in tight Indian drive spaces. The Punch is based on the Alpha Arc architecture, but more importantly, it does look like a compact SUV, courtesy its straight lines all over. There are 4 variants on offer, or as Tata Motors likes to call them, personas. So you can get the Punch in the base pure, or the adventure, or the accomplished, or the one right here is the top end style variant. You can also opt for this car in 7 distinct color options, and it also comes with the dual tone option that you see right here. Features will obviously vary from variant to variant, but the top end creative does get them all. Like these automatic projector headlights with DRLs, humanity line on the front grille, 16-inch alloy wheels, roof rails, and LED taillights. Now, I particularly like the high ground clearance that the Punch has on offer. It's 190 millimeters when empty. The figure is around 160 millimeters when absolutely packed to the brim. Now, underlining those SUV credentials are these really large black cladding on the side, which again accentuates its SUV credentials from the side angle. Now, the first thing you would notice when you step inside the Tata Punch is the nice commanding view of the road. Now, of course, the seat is adjusted to its highest position, but I'm 5'8", and someone even shorter than me would have a nice clear view of the road. What is also very nice is the design layout of the entire dashboard. Yes, there are a whole lot of hard plastics, but frankly, I expected that. And I'm talking about the texture, the visual appeal of the dashboard and the design. Now you get the white panel here, you get a blue border on the AC vents. So in all, there is an effort to get the cabin of the Punch to look a little bit more youthful and a little more fresh. Now, among the feature additions, you get a really large glove box. This is the top variant, so this is cool. There is another compartment inside the glove box to store your documents, and hoping that you don't get them wet, because after all, this one is a cool glove box. Coming to the layout, you get a 7-inch infotainment screen. It's familiar to people who would have been inside the Altros or even the Nexon. It is responsive to touch. It supports Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, navigation, pretty much your headquarters for music and the likes. So won't get into any more detail about this infotainment screen here. The driver display is large, it is semi-digital and looks really, really nice seated right here. Just in front of that is this again very familiar 3-spoke flat bottom steering wheel. You can adjust it for rake but not for reach. So on that count, it is a bit of a downer for me because I like to position and adjust the steering wheel for reach as well. Now on the side, once again, there is ample use of hard plastics, and I'm a little concerned about the quality used because, see, for example, the button here appears a little flimsy. Things even in the boot are a little below high quality standards, but the seat in itself has nice cushioning, seated nice and high as I mentioned. There is ample amount of storage space on the side doors as well as on the central console. Now, speaking about the central console, you get the buttons for air condition control. Just below it is one USB point, a 12-volt charging socket, and a really large storage space for your phone, your wallet, and the likes. What is missing, of course, is that this car has no driver's armrest. This is an automatic car and I would have really liked a place to rest my arms. That's missing. If sunroof is your thing, well, none of the variants or personas of the Punch offer a sunroof, so that's a miss as well. But overall, this is quite a nice place, decent place to be in. But what do the back seats have on offer? Because after all, this car is also oriented for the family buyer. Now, the back seats. Well, frankly, very honestly, a bit of a hit and miss. I'll start with the misses. This seat is positioned to how I like it, so it's quite far back and there is very limited leg room for me. The area for me to rest my feet is also very limited. In some of the newer Tata cars, I find that the rails on which the front seats are on encroach upon a lot of that space for my feet. Under thigh support is also just about adequate if I'm being very generous in my description. The window is a little smaller than I would have liked and the arm angle is a little weird as well. But on the positive side, there is decent amount of knee room, very generous headroom. The back angle of the seats in the Punch are quite good. Cushioning, as I mentioned, is quite good too. And you get an armrest at least in the back seats. Now, since we are here, it's important to note that there are no AC vents here or charging points, and frankly, Tata could have added a few of those on this panel right here. Instead, all you get is a storage space for your mobile phone. It's a flat floor bed, so the passenger seated in the middle, while he or she will have his or her shoulders rubbing against passengers on either side, won't have much to complain about as far as feet space is concerned. Now, I know I'm nitpicking, but it's important to note that there is no light for the rear passengers, and the grab handles as well look a little flimsy and feel a little flimsy as well. Yes, if you're in the back seats and you're looking for an indulgent experience, you would be left disappointed. But frankly, this is a compact, subcompact SUV car, so it's best that you don't go in thinking that it's a plush experience. The Punch is not just about its looks, features and space, but does it have what it takes to be a capable performer while on the move? Well, let's find out. We're obviously sitting inside the automatic transmission Punch, and immediately a lot of things become instantly evident. Now, for example, the pickup in the initial phase isn't the best. It's not, well, I'm going to use a cliche here, but it's not very punchy. So you will have a slight bit of resistance on offer, especially like now when I'm slowing down. And then if I want to get a move on, I have to be a little patient. But once you do cross the 1500 RPM mark, your speed is up to about 60-65. It's a linear progression from there on. Now remember, this car isn't really meant for the driving enthusiast. So as long as you keep things nicely planted, the automatic transmission is, well, not a bad performer either. Now, you know, I've already mentioned about the nice high drive height of the person who's behind the wheels of the Punch, and that really helps when you're out on open roads like I am currently. It gives a nice commanding view of the road ahead. I can see exactly where I want the car to go, proceed, and well, that does lend the Punch its SUV credentials. The Punch offers two drive modes, the Eco and the City. In Eco, obviously, as the name suggests, you can expect better mileage. The Punch also rates the driving dynamics for efficiency, driving and safety. So in efficiency, it will tell you primarily the mileage. In driving, it puts up the top speed. And in safety, which is a great addition, it will remind you of seatbelt utilization, if you've been overspeeding, harsh acceleration, harsh brake, etc. Now the steering is nicely weighted, but if you want to take really sharp turns, I would have preferred for a bit more flexibility on offer. It's not bad, but then again, in really tight traffic conditions, there is that little bit of flexibility that one can expect, especially in urban mobility vehicles, small vehicles like the one the Punch is in. Now, under the hood is a 1.2-litre Revotron petrol engine. There is no plan of getting a diesel as yet. And for the most parts, the engine performs reasonably well. The only thing that I'm not entirely happy with is the refinement. I can hear a lot of that engine groan from under the hood, and noise insulation, well, isn't the best in its category, in its segment either. So on the refinement count, Tata, a company that's really worked hard, and it's shown in some of its other vehicles, that's not entirely reflecting in the Punch. The braking, well, again, could have done with a bit more bite. It's par for the course in regular traffic conditions, but during our tests on empty roads, when we tried to slam the brake to mimic an emergency situation, I really felt that the braking could have had a bit more power. Now that said, the suspension on the Punch has been done pretty well. It's not soft, it's not hard, it is really par for the course for most of the road conditions that we've been so far driving on. But again, coming back to the negative, there is definitely a body roll that's very noticeable. You feel that at high speeds, you feel that when you're taking sharp turns, and you feel that most when you're in the back seat of this vehicle. Now we've spent quite a lot of time with the automatic transmission, and it's time now to take a look at what the manual transmission of the Punch has on offer. The Punch with the manual transmission actually is much more fun to drive than the EMT. That's primarily thanks to the punchy gearbox, which is a breeze to shift, and the moment you need a little more acceleration and a little bit more output from the vehicle, especially for those tricky overtaking moves, the manual transmission will fare far better as long as you negotiate it right than the AMT. Now comes the most interesting part of this review perhaps. What is the Punch capable of in less than perfect road conditions? Now the Tata Punch obviously is no 4x4 or authentic off-roader, but if the terrain does get challenging, the Punch promises to take you out of sticky situations. A number of factors help Punch's case on roads which are less than ideal. A large 20.3 degree approach angle, a 37.6 degree departure angle, and a 22.2 degree ramp over angle, these figures of course are unladen, help the Punch negotiate terrains which are slightly more challenging. The Punch has a water wading capacity of 360 millimeters, and while obviously it is not meant to do what some authentic 4x4s are capable of, Tata Motors claim that in waterlogged roads that we see commonly in Indian cities, the Punch can hold its own. The high ground clearance of the Punch also helps the vehicle negotiate bad and broken roads with ease, and the suspension setup that I've already mentioned further eases the drive experience. Tata Motors has also equipped the Punch with traction mode for better grip in wet and slippery conditions. So that in a nutshell is what the Tata Punch is all about. It isn't the most luxurious car from the inside, and neither is it the most stylish subcompact vehicle that you can buy. And yet, it makes a good case for itself courtesy a number of factors ranging from its compact proportions to a decent feature list and a relatively capable drive performance, which, as we showed you, is also very capable on broken and less than perfect roads. But we're very interested in knowing what do you think about the latest from Tata Motors. Do let us know in the comment section. But for now, this is all that we have in this episode. Stay tuned for more such videos.